The studio of CBS this morning buzzed with excitement as Meghan Markle appeared on set, her entrance greeted with polite applause. Sitting across from Nate Burleson, she carried her usual grace and confidence, ready to discuss her latest projects. At first, the conversation unfolded smoothly. Meghan spoke about her charitable work, her passion for women's rights, and the importance of using her voice to inspire others. The audience at home leaned in, but Nate's body language suggested he had tougher questions in mind, ones that would shift the tone of the interview dramatically. The shift came when Nate pressed her about criticisms surrounding her public image. With calm but firm wording, he asked whether Meghan's emphasis on visibility sometimes overshadowed the causes she claimed to champion. Meghan smiled tightly, attempting to steer the conversation back to her achievements, but Nate persisted. His tone wasn't aggressive, but it was direct, leaving no room for her to avoid the underlying issue. The tension in the studio rose noticeably, with the audience holding its breath as the Duchess visibly struggled to maintain composure. Trying to defend herself, Meghan insisted that her visibility gave important issues a platform they wouldn't otherwise receive. But Nate wasn't satisfied with that answer. He pushed further, questioning whether the constant attention on her personal struggles sometimes diluted the very advocacy she promoted. His words landed sharply, and for the first time, Meghan's polished responses seemed to falter. She stumbled slightly, repeating her talking points, but the firmness in Nate's eyes told the audience that he wasn't convinced. Meghan attempted to regain control by highlighting the challenges she had faced within the royal institution, emphasizing how she had turned pain into empowerment. While the audience gave her a sympathetic round of applause, Nate countered with a cutting remark. He reminded her that resilience wasn't only about telling one story, it was about delivering consistent impact. The comment left Meghan visibly shaken. The camera caught her jaw tightening, and the atmosphere in the studio grew heavy. The conversation spiraled further when Nate asked her about the ongoing criticism that her approach sometimes came across as self-focused. Meghan's smile vanished completely as she accused the media of distorting her intentions. Nate calmly replied that he wasn't asking about the media's portrayal, but about how her actions were interpreted by the public. It was a subtle but devastating distinction, leaving Meghan unable to redirect the narrative. The audience gasped softly, recognizing that she had been cornered. In frustration, Meghan raised her voice slightly, insisting she would never apologize for speaking her truth. She accused critics of wanting to silence her, framing the question as part of a broader attack on women who dared to stand up for themselves. While her words earned some applause, Nate remained composed, responding that standing up for oneself was admirable, but accountability and humility were just as important. His steady tone contrasted sharply with Meghan's defensiveness, highlighting the imbalance between them. The clash reached a breaking point when Meghan refused to answer a question about whether she regretted leaving the royal family in such a public, explosive way. Instead of responding directly, she accused Nate of trying to sensationalize her pain for ratings. The accusation stunned the studio. Nate leaned back, visibly unfazed, and simply said, "This is your platform, Meghan. I just asked the question everyone else is thinking." The audience erupted in murmurs, and the air turned icy. At that moment, producers made a shocking decision. Meghan, visibly flustered, continued to argue back, her tone rising higher, while Nate stayed calm and professional. The exchange grew so uncomfortable that the show abruptly cut to commercial. When cameras returned, Meghan's seat was empty. Gayle King, clearly trying to smooth things over, explained that Meghan had to leave early for another engagement. But everyone knew the truth. Meghan had been removed from the segment after the fiery confrontation. Social media exploded instantly. Clips of Meghan's walk-off went viral, with hashtags like #MeghanMeltdown and #CBS Showdown dominating Twitter. Some viewers defended her, arguing that Nate had been unfairly harsh. Others praised him, saying he had finally asked the tough questions that no one else dared to confront her with. The divide in public opinion was sharp, but the majority agreed that Meghan's inability to handle the pushback had been exposed on live television. By the next morning, every major outlet was covering the story. Headlines framed it as one of the most shocking live TV clashes of the year. Some commentators argued it was a turning point in Meghan's public image, stripping away the carefully curated polish and exposing vulnerability under pressure. For Nate Burleson, however, it was a career-defining moment. He was praised for his composure, his professionalism, and his ability to hold a powerful public figure accountable without raising his voice. The fallout for Meghan was significant. Critics seized the moment as proof that she struggled when confronted outside of sympathetic interviews. Her supporters rallied to defend her, but even they admitted the optics of being kicked off live television were damaging. Meanwhile, Nate's reputation soared, with many viewers demanding he take on more hard-hitting interviews in the future. The clash was more than just entertainment, it became a cultural talking point, sparking debates about accountability, celebrity privilege, and the power of media narratives. What was intended to be a routine interview had turned into a live spectacle that no one could have predicted. Meghan Markle's attempt to control the narrative collapsed under Nate Burleson's steady questioning, and the result was a dramatic, unforgettable moment in television history. It was the kind of confrontation that would be replayed for years, not just as a clash of personalities, but as a symbol of how quickly image can unravel when the spotlight turns uncomfortably bright.